This is part two of this article. If you haven't yet watched part one, please head over to my page and watch it and then come back here for part two. EM and Poo have utilized these same strategies around the globe, influencing contests far and wide and causing the far right to seize power. At the Munich Security Council this week, JDV stated, when political leaders represent an important constituency, it is incumbent on us to at least participate in a dialogue with them. Now, for many of us on the other side of the Atlantic, it looks more and more like old entrenched interest hiding behind ugly Soviet era words like disinformation and misinformation, who simply don't like the idea that somebody with an alternative viewpoint might express a different opinion or, God forbid, vote a different way, or even worse, win an election. JDV talks in depth about a strong mandate to govern and the importance of listening to the will of the voters, even if the will of the voters is surprising. The same language being used in the US to implement a sweeping coup. JDV is urging European leaders to listen to the voice of their people when the validity of the European contests have started to be questioned, as evidenced by Romania's annulment of their December contest. Romanian intelligence services declassified documents that indicated that their contest had fallen prey to cyber attacks, disinformation campaigns, and voter manipulation on social media platforms, all suspected to have been orchestrated by Russia. So while JDV urges Europeans to listen to their constituents have been victim to Russian cyber and psychological warfare. JDV continued, quote, but what no democracy, American, German, or European, will survive is telling millions of voters that their thoughts and concerns, their aspiration, their pleas for relief are invalid or unworthy of even being considered. Democracy rests on the sacred principle that the voice of the people matters. There's no room for firewalls. You either uphold the principle or you don't. Europeans, the people, have a voice. European leaders have a choice. And my strong belief is that we do not need to be afraid of the future. You can embrace what your people tell you, even if it's surprising, even if you don't agree. End quote. JDV went on to criticize Sweden for convicting a Christian nationalist for participating in Koran burnings that resulted in his friend's murder, blamed immigration for the recent car ramming terror attacks in Munich, and falsely claimed that German police were carrying out raids against citizens for posting anti-feminist comments online as a part of, quote, combating misogyny on the internet, end quote, when in reality, police raided and interrogated those who were posting hate speech and advocating for grape and SA. In response to JDV's speech in Munich, the French President Emmanuel Macron has called for an emergency meeting of European leaders, including NATO Secretary General and the leaders of Germany, Italy, the UK, and Poland. The UK's Prime Minister commented, this is a once in a generation moment for our national security, where we engage with the reality of the world today and the threat we face from Russia. It's clear we must take a greater role in NATO as we work with the United States to secure Ukraine's future and face down the threat we face from Russia. While the U.S. allies and NATO meet in Paris this week to discuss these issues, Russia, the U.S., and Saudi Arabia will meet in Saudi Arabia to discuss the future of Ukraine. Today, the outgoing Munich security chair broke down in tears as he made his closing remarks to the council. Quote, after the speech of JDV on Friday, we have to fear that our common value base is not that common anymore. End quote. While the most toxic and necrotic aspects of Russian and American patriarchy position themselves at the top of the world stage, Christoph Huskin gave us a gift by demonstrating what a fierce resistance can look like through strong masculine tears, a reaction proportionate to the threat looming over the world. This entire article is available to read for free on my Substack. As always, if you feel this information is important, please like and repost as the reach of my content has become more narrow. Please remember to follow me on all of my other platforms.